2x2 formation. Road change, down we go, racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action, it's go.
It's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in, this has all got trouble written all over it. This is G3 cars.
Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, put it down from the inside line. Yes, he did. Through he goes.
Good evening and welcome to round 2 of AOR's Tier 1 GT3 Season 14. I'm Rage F1 and I am joined, as always, by my co-commentator, Mr. Tim. How are you doing, Tim?
Good evening, Rage. Yeah, I am doing absolutely fantastic. I'm looking at a very, very, very wet Indianapolis at the moment. And I can't help but feeling that a lot of these drivers should have bought their armbands.
Yeah, I think so too. It's pretty damn wet. There's lots of cars spinning around, lots of cars swapping over as they try and negotiate this tricky old track. Well, let's jump straight into it then, because free practice is about to end pretty soon. So we'll get rid of this lovely background. There we go, lovely. So, we should go for a few standings, bits and pieces after last week's race. Not too sure if there's any immediate news. Sorry for those guys who joined us, or may have joined through the other link. There was a problem with starting the stream. Not too sure how that happened. It decided to only start it for 7 seconds, so apologies for that. So if you have found us now, I made sure I got rid of that link, so sorry about that. We are live now, and let's go through what happened in last time's race. So, George Boothby came out on top with 100 points round Barcelona last week. Luke Whitehead, second spot there, he'll claim himself 88 points. Aidan Walsingham will be the third place driver there with 79 points. Then outside of that, Harley Chamberlain will get herself lonely 72 points. Samir Foch in 5th place with 65. Alejandro will get himself 59, and Alex Torregrosa, the two Spaniards together, with 53 points in P7, P8, P9 and P10, with Sakri Lethinen, Jadier and then Kieran Prendergast rounding out the top 10. If you want to find out any more information, you can find it on the Apex Online Racing back office area, where you can find all the standings and bits and pieces like that. But that is the top 10 as it stands at the moment. Going out of that, you've got Michael Thomas, Makowski, Chris Warner, Curtis Podens, Junko Termanen, Valentin Barriat, Mattia De Campo, and then Matthias, Abe Sentema, and then Skylar Loverink rounding out the top 20. I won't go any further than that because there are literally 48 drivers driving us this season. So there you go. It's quite a close field. Where are we today then? Indianapolis. We've started on our American chapter, haven't we?
Yeah, this is the first time. Oh, sorry. Immediately couldn't speak then. Apologies. I think this is the first time we've been here as part of the Sprint Cup series, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've ever been here as part of the Apex Online Racing Sprint Cup series.
Once before. Yeah, only once,
well, there we go.
Before. I think it might be 2 seasons ago. Got a funny feeling it might have actually been last season, you know. I can't remember. It was a few seasons ago. We definitely were here trying to find it, desperately trying to find it. But we did, yes, so it was season 1 after 10, season 11. There you go, Indianapolis. Last time we were here, George Boothby took the crown. Jardier came second, Grantis Caracas in third. We had a Luke Whitehead all the way down in 13th place, and his teammate at the time, Aidan Walsingham, in 11th. So that's what we had last time we came round. Is it the Brickyard? Is it the Brickyard on the one? Yes.
I don't know, actually. I probably should know, but I'm not entirely sure on this one.
I'm pretty sure that's what they call it.
Has it got the bricks on the start line? I think that's always the thing, isn't it? It's like there's still the original bricks, I think, there. Just a quick one before we get into qualifying. There was obviously live stewarding all throughout the race last time.
Yes.
But there was one post-race incident that came through.
Okay.
And that was a bit more of a look at the incident on lap 1. I think it was turn 5. It was quite a big load of bunching up of cars. All of it came down in the end that there has been a 5-second time penalty given to car number 138 and 1 license point.
Oh.
So
138.
Not massive.
That's Rafael Mallow, new driver for us this season. So there you go. I wonder what that was for.
That was the only thing
just causing a light collision at the beginning.
This is the words that came from the stewards. The incident is in part of the chaos in turn 5. Also, it was by the live stewards in 2 separate stewarding inquiries already before that. Basically, just sort of saying that
they're aware a whoopsie happened.
Yeah, a bit of a whoopsie happened. A lot of drivers probably could have handled it a lot better. But then, Malho receives a 5-second penalty for not avoiding an unavoidable accident. So yeah, that's what happened there. But 5 second, and they did sort out the issue of last week. I think people on lap 1 incidents were being given a license point plus 5 license points for lap 1 incidents. That has now been changed. It's now been sorted. The bot has been reset, and it is now just 1 extra license point for lap 1 incidents. It's a little bit of a deterrent to stop people driving like complete lunatics.
Well, there we go. I'm glad they got on top of that. Okay, well, we're being led out at the moment by, I think it's Michael Thomas, Turn 1 Sim Racing. Currently leading the pack away. I don't think that's Michael Thomas, is it? Maybe it is. Maybe I'm getting confused. I think
it's car number 28, which, yeah, that is Michael Thomas, I believe.
Car
I'm going to say yes.
Yes, why not? I thought that was the Traction Dave. But that he is currently in P4. I bet they got the same livery. Yes, they do. That's why.
Yeah, they
He's
do.
still in the pit. But no, Dave, I think he runs his own league, Traction Dave. Got a funny feeling. If you want to fancy hopping over there, you can do. A little bit more of an amateur league, Traction Dave. I'm pretty sure he runs his own bits and pieces on one of the many sim racing league organising platforms that you guys can find out there. I can't remember what it's called. SimGrid? SimSport? Something like that. Sim something. I think I did one of his
I definitely
GT3
know the name.
ones back in the day.
I definitely know the name, and I'm trying to think. Was it? No. I'm trying to think now. It might even be. Is it not the WTF Racing League? Is that Traction Dave?
It might be something to do with that. I think he's.
I'm
pretty sure he's got a YouTube channel, Traction Dave. It's not huge. It might be a Twitch. Can't rightly remember. But yeah, I mean, any help to one of the smaller guys to get them up into the big leagues like you've got that we normally drag out of AOR. You've got obviously Jards with a huge following. Luke Whitehead's developed himself a lovely following. Who else did we have? There was another one. Can't remember his name. It was always good to having him in the league. He was also very racy. He hasn't been in now for a few seasons. God blimey, can't remember his name. Always used to cause chaos. But he was a big streamer that used to race with us. God, what was his name? Dave something? Chat, help me out.
Again.
It is the Brickyard, by the way. We are right. Traction Dave rounding the final corner then to start. Not Traction. Michael Thomas, his teammate, rounding the final corner to start a lap. Let's go on board. Sorry, Tim. Through turn 1. He's desperately, frantically finding out, I think. It is so wet out there.
I was just making sure I got the chat working, as I realised when you reset the stream, I didn't change my chat. But yeah, lap 1. Well, this is the first flying lap, isn't it? And Michael Thomas, seeing what he can do, see if he can put it together nicely.
It's a funny old
Bit of an
track.
odd circuit, this
isn't it?
one.
Yeah, I'm literally
Yep.
saying the same thing. It is. It's a funny old track. You know, I never really know where everyone is. Yeah, it's one of those that's typical American oval that they've decided to use the middle for a circuit. So there's no change in elevation, really. It is literally just flat corners. To be fair, it's a good test of whether you've set a car up brilliantly through turn 7 then into turn 8, because you've got to get it spot on. Because every corner is flat, and you have to get bang on lines, otherwise you are going much slower. You can't exit a corner at the completely wrong pace because it will ruin the entrance to the next one. Then as we round then onto the back straight-ish, turns 10, be a cut in through to turn 11, I think. No, this is 8 and 9. Who knows? We're lost again. That was actually turn 1. No, that was into 12. There we go. 13 into 14. I hate this track for commentating. It's so tough. Now it's back onto the back straight. They break it up with turns 12, 13 and 14. Good luck with that, Tim. I've already lost and it's only won that round.
Yeah, I just realised that my track map that I was faithfully using, so I knew all the numbers, was entirely wrong.
Oh, nice.
So we're getting that one. There's lots and lots of different versions of this track as well. So you sort of think to yourself, oh yeah, I'm familiar with this circuit. I know where this goes. And then you suddenly think to yourself, oh, hang on, no, this is completely different to the version that I am usually used to. So yes, gonna be an interesting one. As yeah, again, it's not a circuit that we overly use. So I'm trying to work out what this layout is called.
I think it's the GP circuit. I've got a funny thing it is. It's the IndyCar GP. This is the one I'm using anyway. I think it's the same one as the IndyCar. I might be wrong. It could be completely wrong. It doesn't look like it's right. This is that's through 5 and 6 then. And it's the middle straightaway down towards 7, 8 and 9. And this is the part where it can get really tough if you've not set the car up. It is a fantastic track for IndyCar, I must say. It really is impressive. We've got some changes going on towards the top end. Gert Fischer coming across the line with a fantastic livery. We can now see, oh my goodness, Gert, he's done himself proud with that. That looks brilliant. The number 78 crossing the line to start another lap. Luke Whitehead, we got his new paint all live on the stream as well as he's coming down the middle straight away towards turn 7. We'll stay with him because this is where we left Thomas. So this is into turn 7. We'll see if my track map is the same. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's the same as the IndyCar. Then through 8 and then straight into 9, left-hander, and then you've got to prepare yourself brilliantly into 10. And this is a funny one because you think you're coming onto the apron, onto the back of the track, but you're not. There's a weird little kink through 11, and then you dip straight into 12, 13, 14. It's another couple of cutbacks. There you go. So it's really hard. You've got to spot the apex. Don't hit it though, because it's a massive sausage, as he only kisses it lightly, and then into 13, and then 14's onto the back straight to start down for another lap. Luke Whitehead then 6th place at the moment with 7/10 in his pocket. Valentine Barrier's the top spot at the moment with a 140.5. I think we're definitely going to see a change around at the top 3 here. Luke Whitehead then pushing P1 across the line, and he takes it. Oh, by 900ths. Fantastic lap there from Luke Whitehead. Barrier down to 2nd. His teammate Walsingham in 3rd.
Yeah, Walsingham on a good lap. He's 0.3 up on his lap time at the moment. And I think actually he was the fastest driver during practice as well. So someone who is really off the pace though, George Boothby, compared to last week, huge drop in pace.
Yeah, Lexus is there.
There we go. Aiden goes pole, dropping with that a 140.262.
Nice, good time. I was going to say, Boothby and the Lexus again is it's an unknown quantity. We don't know what the pace is around here, so we have to see. Obviously, we got insights last time out when we talked to the top 3 that Lexus very hard on the tyre, definitely scrubs through the corners, and obviously with this middle part of the track that's very technical, it might not lend itself to pace in a Lexus. I know the Honda goes very well here. Last time we raced, Boothby, I'm pretty sure, was in the Honda and came away with the W. I mean, I can go back and have a look, but I'm pretty sure that was a season when everyone was on Honda. We were on the original BOP provided by KUNOS. It wasn't the BOP that we've got now provided by Apex Online. Prenter, welcome. He said, all my best to my son. Currently, Prenter, whereabouts is he? Oh, he's doing well. He's in P7. And he's on the bubble. No improvements at the moment, but no drops in time. So we'll see what Kieran is going to do. Second time out in season 14. It is 14, isn't it? Am I going crazy? Is it 14? They'll roll into one, Tim.
Oh. They do. That's the thing. I think people forget that there is just. It does. What's XV? Is that XV? Isn't that not 15?
Yes, it is season 15. I even introed season 14. I'm so sorry, guys. You can tell that we've done our homework. It is season 14. Yeah, 10 after 5, isn't it? So 1 to 5. Yeah, season 15. Apologies.
You know what? I doubt anyone is going to be that upset, but now saying that, someone will probably berate us in the chat for that one.
Tim, we got told off for our professionalism last time around, so I wouldn't worry.
We did a little bit, yes. Oh, Chris Warner just got himself up into 3rd place, and similar to the practice session, it really is looking like the Aston Martins are dominating the top 10, and we've got, is it 5 of them, or is it 6? Oh my God, my eyes
there's 6 there. 6 inside the top 10, 6. Yeah.
So that is a ridiculous amount. It pretty much is only what is Walshingham and Whitehead sort of trying to bring the mid-engined and rear-engine cars into the mix. The rest of it is all just Aston Martins, which makes sense. Made in Britain, designed to go in the wet, so it kind of makes sense that they're doing well here. I think it was a couple of seasons back when it was when the car of choice was the McLaren. When that seemed to go amazingly well in the wet. I think we were convinced it was just running on water because it seemed to be able to do ridiculously long stints.
Yeah, we're on board at the moment with Jarge. He's just rounding up this lap, just trying to slowly build into it as he comes through turn 10 then. I think he'll be looking to improve. He's currently P5. 3 tenths in hand to get himself on the top spot. Like you say, if those Aston Martins are fast, he's only got 2 more places to be the fastest of the Aston drivers. So we'll stay with him, see what he can do on his speedy lap. Sorry, mate.
Really backed off, didn't he, to try and give himself some room in front of him, some clean air towards the end of that last lap, and the gaps opened up in front of him a little bit, but lots of cars still exiting the pit, so he might have a little bit of issue. I don't think he's going to have quite the amount of clean air he wants to, but I'm pretty sure he was 3rd or 4th in practice, so he should have the pace to get himself further up the grid. He realistically could get himself inside the top 3 if he could just put together the same sort of lap he was putting in practice.
Yeah, I mean, these guys all know these tracks so brilliantly well. There's not really one track on this game that these guys don't really know inside and out. They play it so much. It's the mainstay for these boys. It's almost the job, isn't it, really? Obviously, some of the top drivers here, SimSport is their profession. So you get the best in the biz. Jarge, though, obviously, streamer by heart. Driver, obviously, comes second to that. So, very interesting. Some of these guys obviously develop their skills in real life and then come over onto sim racing. Obviously, an example of that is Luke Whitehead used to kart. We used to have, I think it was an F3 driver race with us at some point. Can't remember his name now. He did get himself up onto the top 3. We had a chat with him once or twice. I'm rubbish when it comes to names, so I apologise. But yeah, crossovers between real racing and esports definitely happens as the rain absolutely soaks this poor Aston Martin. He's trying to find his way around the track. Jarge then, he's down on his time. He's not going to improve here. I might just drop off on and see what's happening with Luke Whitehead. He's a 10th up at the moment, and he's coming through the final corners. I'm pretty sure he's under the Stability Control 55 team at the moment, so I'm not too sure if that's just part of his livery or if that's definitely who he's driving for at the moment. So pretty sure that's same outfit Black Goldsaw and others alike used to drive for.
Yes. Yeah, I think last season we had a driver that was mouse and keyboard.
Yes.
Who was driving for that team. Oh, God, I feel really bad. Again, it's one of those names that
Cargumi
slipped my
or
mind.
Something along those lines, wasn't it?
Cargaloo, I believe. Yeah,
yes.
That was the name. Yeah, that was a mouse and keyboard racer. And to be fair, really quick driver for someone on a mouse and keyboard, which I honestly cannot even fathom how you can do it. But there we go. There are some people out there that just have the skills.
Yeah, old Cargaloo. I'm not too sure. I don't think he's driving with us this season. But yeah, mouse and keyboard. Crazy. The rear end on that car is all over the place for Luke Whitehead. He's actually still finding time. He almost settles the car in and hopes it holds. the driving style of Luke Whitehead, especially in this Porsche, is what we've got used to Luke Whitehead driving. He has switched up a few times, obviously seeing him in the Lamborghini last season, but back at home, business as usual in a Porsche. And the way he attacks the corners is unlike any other Porsche driver that I've seen in a long time. The only other person I know that drives a Porsche with such ability is Malinowski. We've not seen him for so long in Apex. I really do hope he comes back, because I think that's the only driver currently that could probably, well, I know of at least, Kevin Siclari also being one of those drivers that could probably put the threat on Luke Whitehead. Anyway, Aidan Walsingham's still the top man. Luke Whitehead's actually pitted. He's going to try and go for another one. I think he might have run out of time on that, you know, Tim. 140 to go. Fastest time is a 140. Unless he does some cheeksy doodling, I'm not too sure he's going to make it round.
I mean, he's going to have to do something pretty spectacular as well, because Aidan Walsingham, who is currently holding on to the pole position, is still finding time as well, flicking in between 0.1 and 0.2. Currently, what 0.1 up, he could be the first driver to dip themselves in to that magical 139. Obviously, being wet, getting themselves below 140 is an absolute mission, to be fair. In the dry, obviously, it wouldn't be so much of a problem, but here in the wet, it adds a fairly large amount of time. There's a lot of, like you were saying earlier on, there's no real elevation change. They're just completely flat corners, so it's all down to downforce and tyre grip. There's no sort of camber or anything to give you an advantage, apart from obviously on that nice little bit towards the end of the lap. You've got a nice little bit of camber to work with, nice bit of banking. But even that in the wet can be such an unpredictable part of the circuit as you transfer from the flat up onto the banking and then back off again. One of those places where you sort of think to yourself, oh, is the car going to stick? And it might actually break loose. Walsingham is up on his time. Are we going to see an improvement? Is he going to get into the 139s? He does. 139.9. And I don't think anyone's going to take that away this late in the day.
No, I think that's all she wrote.
Saying that, Chris Warner was up on his time for a moment, and Barrier was.
Got a little bit of time to make up. I think it's 5/10 behind for Warner and Barrier now. Obviously, Luke Whitehead was that little stop gap, but not sure he's going to be able to improve. That Honda just ferociously fast this time under the hands of Aidan Walsingham. Valentine Barrier then, he is up on his time, 2/10. Who else is behind them that could possibly improve? Harley Chamberlain. We have had some more movers and shakers there. Gert Fischer, I think, just came across the line to displace for 6th, possibly. Chamberlain's done. Boothby's done in P9. Valentine Barrier crosses the line for P2. Displacing Luke Whitehead to the second row of the grid. There's the big shout. Where's Jardier then? I think he's just coming through the final few corners. Can't quite work out exactly where he is. I think he might be coming through turns 4. No, maybe not. That was turn 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah, pretty much at the beginning of the lap.
It was,
sort of just entering sector 2, I think. Sort of on that little short back straight section.
It's so hard to work out where they are because all of the background looks exactly the same as the foreground. It's so silly. Anyway, we'll go on board with Jards. He's not up on his time, but hopefully he could improve. I think that's about it for changes. Gert Fischer down by 10. I don't think we're going to get any more moves, Tim.
Yeah, there's some people much further down the grid, sort of in the mid-30s, that are sort of putting in times. What have we got here? We've got Sakari Lathinen is up on his time ever so slightly, currently running in 23rd place. And then even further down the grid, if we go right to the bottom, oh, actually, I think he may have crossed the line and improved. It was Ranieri who was on an improvement, but he has disappeared, so presumably he's moved up. Yes, he's moved up to 34th place. So he'll be pleased with that, get himself up into the 30s.
No improves for Jards. Unfortunately, dropped 10th on the final corner, so I don't think we'll see any more. There you go. Final driver crosses the line, and that is it for round 2 qualifying. So there you go. Those are your drivers. Aidan Walsingham taking the top spot. Taking the crown for qualifying. Valentine Barrier doing the business and displacing the current season champ and the current reigning champ, Luke Whitehead, down in 3rd place, 2nd row on the grid behind, next to Chris Warner. That's pretty interesting, and it's put a bit of a worry, I think, into Luke Whitehead, because not only has his teammate got an easier life, he's also got to contend with Barrier. Obviously, into turn 1, nice left-hand 90-degree turn, so you would think if Luke Whitehead can get a good start, he might be able to jump Barrier into turn 1, but I don't think he's got much chance on Aidan Walsingham. So Aidan Walsingham's got almost a free start here. So what we'll do...
Yeah, that rear-engine, rear-wheel drive Porsche is going to have that advantage on that first break off the line. It's going to be able to squat down, get the power down quite nicely. So realistically, it should be able to have a bit of a decent drag. He's got that BMW only a row behind him as well. Those are pretty good at getting away off the line. But I think consistency is going to be the big one here this evening. I mean, as we've all seen, the Aston Martin is one of those cars that is a real favourite for endurance races. So if anything is going to stay, on the black turf the whole entire time, it's going to be one of the Aston Martins. But then again, look just behind Jards as well. You've got another Honda. You've got Harley Chamberlain, another car that we've seen go really well, and he massively improved over the space of the race. So, his racecraft is absolutely spot on at Barcelona. So here in the wet, are we going to see another Ford charge here from Harley? It could be another driver getting himself sort of up inside the top 5, if not further, I think, this week.
Yeah, I think so too. You might have to keep an eye on what happens with Harley. Well, let's go through the grid. Might as well quickly. As you well know, the top 5, as I read it out already, but we'll go through it again. Aidan Walsingham, P1, joined by Valentine Barry on the front row of the grid. In P2, Luke Whitehead and Chris Warner will be on the second row, 3 and 4 for them. Third row will be Jards and Gert Fischer. Fourth row will be Harley Chamberlain and Nowicki. Fifth row will be George Boothby and Jax Alexander. And then we got Kieran Prendergast and Christoph Makowski in row 6, 11th and 12th for them. Row 7, Alejandro Avalez. We always struggle with that one. And then Alex Torregrossa, P13, P14 each. Then we've got the 8th row, Samir Foch and Remy Papin, 15 and 16 for them. 9th row will be Michael Thomas and Wilf Padunaro, the Padawan himself, P17, P18. Then we've got the 10th row of the grid, Fabio Zerbin and Kirsters Polens in P19 and P20. 11th row, Sakiri Lethinen and Skylar Loverink, P21 and P22. Then we've got the 12th row, Abe Santema and Rafael Mayo. 13th row is Jentel Van Thalen and Adam Dubiel. Those names ringing true with the old guard. Then Lucas Congretel in P27. P28 would be Mattia De Campo just next to him. Row 15 then, Yaroslav Dimitrov and Aliso Melis. Matt York is back with us again with Sylvian Amor just slightly behind. P33 then for Christian Renari and Traction Dave in P34. Joined, I think, by Matthias. You said this better than me, I won't butcher it. Matthias Welcome, P35. Luca Tozzato with Josh Waring, P36 and 37. Getting down towards the back now. Stefan and Michael Poshipin, there we go. Lucian in P40, Kevin Niles back there in P41. We've got Jarabowski in P42, and then Jacob Blizzard at the back there for SGSS at P43. So there's the grid for you this afternoon. It's quite a big one. It's quite wet too, and we are around the Brickyard. It looks smaller with GT3 cars than it does with Indy cars. It's probably because they're bigger, Tim.
There are some big old buses these days, aren't there? I mean, I think it was one of those circuits you really noticed the size difference in modern cars to classic cars is somewhere like Bathurst as well. I mean, if you watch, there's so much access and they still race the classic cars there. You sort of watch them coming down, the Conrod Straight, and they can be 4 wide back in the day. And now it's 3 wide is an absolute squeeze just because they've all got wider and wider as they've gone. I did just, when you were going through the grid order there, I noticed that Matt York got himself up into 31st place. I think that was a real late time improvement that he managed to get up, because I'm sure when I saw earlier on, he was in the sort of the high 30s, low 40s. So he'd probably be quite pleased with that, jumping himself up into 31st place. Another one of our British drivers, Matt York, and driving a Bentley back in that car, all thanks to that custom BOP.
Pretty sure Matt York runs his own YouTube, doesn't he, Matt York?
Yes, yeah, he is Yorkie. He's one of my been a absolute veteran of my Tier 2 league. He did absolutely fantastic last season. I think he might have came 3rd last season, or 2nd or 3rd in the overall championship. The Bentleys really did take the fight to the front row last season. So good to see him up here in Tier 1. Nice to see him improve. He sort of flicks back and forth between the two a little bit, I think.
It's the first time I've seen Matt York in Tier 1. I can't remember the last time I've seen Yorkie in Tier 1. He might have been like back in the day, but it's not. It's been a while.
But yeah, no, he's been in he's been in Tier 2. So some seasons he has a bit of a poor one. Other seasons he has an absolute screamer, and it's fantastic. Like last season was absolutely great to see him, taking so many wins and so many good improvements. But he's up here with some very, very, very competitive boys now, isn't he?
Yeah.
So you've got, you only got to look at the top 5, and it's the top 5 is an incredibly intimidating list. If I jumped into a race and I saw those as my competitors, I would probably just immediately hold the power down on my computer and just go to bed. I wouldn't bother going up against those gentlemen. Yeah, some incredibly talented drivers here.
We're coming close to the start of this race now. I think we're through turns 10 and 11-ish area. So we're cut down through turns 12 and 13, I think. I mean, I'll go on board just double check, because it is, yeah. We're right. So we're going through turn 12, so it's getting close. But yeah, I mean, it's incredibly close, isn't it? Incredibly tight series. Always has been, AOR. I think because it's got so many splits. They're very good, the coordinators, at splitting people evenly. And like you say, sometimes you get some surprises that promote themselves. Through pace, of course, like Matt York, up into the Tier 1 boys. I did read when he's got applied his tier. He was as surprised as he'd been, that he was racing in Tier 1. So yeah, good to see him in Tier 1. Then he settled himself towards the back end of the pack, but it's fine. Plenty of time to iron out all of those creases as we are getting incredibly close to going green here. I think we'll go on board with Luke Whitehead on the start here, because it's going to be green, and it go then straight down the back straight. And we are going to get a crazy entrance into turn 1 with the spray absolutely blinding everyone behind. Look how many wide cars we've got. As Luke Whitehead seems to dip a little bit further back. I think that's Chris Warner going for an attack. Gert Fisher squeezed in the middle, and Jards goes round the outside. Manages to keep that position. Fantastic for him. Up into 4th place. And Luke Whitehead on the back of Valentin Barrier. And it was exactly how we thought, Tim. That car struggling to get past the Aston Martin on the start. And off goes Aidan Walsingham. Any damage from the back end of the pack? Are we all good?
A little bit of incidents now going on through turn 3. I think it's hard to tell. I think it's more just people having to slow down so much in the wet. Although kind of at 840 is now off the track. There was actually a slight little bit of bumping going on even before they got to turn 1. I believe it was the BMW. I think it was Gert Fisher did get into the back of that Aston Martin, just gave them an ever so slight little nudge, and then ended up having to go all the way out to the outside and lost quite a few positions. I think that mistake was actually what opened the door and then let Jards fly on through and take a whole bunch of positions at once.
Yeah, Jards going up to P4 on the start there, just because of a slight altercation between Fisher and Warner. We just saw, I think that was Alexander getting pushed wide in the middle part of this first opening lap, and going on a spin. So I'm sure he's gone himself a little bit further down the grid now. And I'm not too sure who. I think we're on board with Toro Grosso as we saw it happen just behind him. But yeah, it looks like the top 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I can see Boothby in that, still going well. Little bit of a gap opening up, but nothing huge, nothing unsurmountable. But yeah, good start. And not too much danger inside the top 20. Nowicki with the fastest time. I'm not sure how that works. Surely, yeah, strange one, but there you go.
I think it's when you start from further back, it's a rolling start. You already passed the start line, sort of going quicker, so you gain. It tends to be over the first couple of laps, someone towards the back of the grid tends to take the time. I think we're probably going to see some penalties rolling in, because after going back and watching a replay of lap 1, I sort of tried to do my best to view as much as possible. I think half the grid went the wrong way and was spun round on turns 3 and 4. So. Yeah, a couple of drivers there. I think that I'm not sure where it all started, but there was lots and lots of cars rotating all through turns 2 and 3. Sorry. So yeah, I'm sure the stewards are already, head in hands, trying to deal with all the bits and pieces. So at some point we will see them rolling in.
Yeah, it's hard for us to give you guys all of the incidents in turn 1, because there's almost 2 ends to the snake that we see. There's the top end, including the top 20, and then there's the back end all the way down to the last 45th driver or so. So if something happens to, I don't know, somewhere in the mid-30s, it's very unlikely we're going to see it to turn 1 unless we're on a helicopter cam and it's a forgiving first corner. This, unfortunately, isn't, so you miss a lot of the action going on behind. At the moment, we're on board with Jards, P4, currently chasing Luke Whitehead, who's chasing Barrier, who is slightly fading from Aidan Walsingham, who's leading. Warner then struggling to keep on the back of the fellow Aston Martin driver. He's just behind in P5. Gert Fisher, you can see going through the camera there. He's got a very cool livery, I'm not going to lie. Anyone who's a JDM fan, do put your hands up, because that looks like a very HKS 80s vibe, if you ask me, but I'm not sure he's gone for that, but it definitely looks like it. But anyway, I think it's called Confetti, not too sure, but that's what it looks like, M Sport style. Really cool, love it.
I thought it had a little bit of 90s bus seat colour vibe.
Yeah,
it could be just a little bit. It was a bit more classy than that. Just a moment ago, car number 907 completely missed their braking point down towards the end of the back straight and absolutely sent themselves flying. Oh, Aidan Walsingham suddenly way off the pace and is now completely being swamped by Barrier. I'm not sure what happened there, but I cut to them and immediately there's Aston Martin all over the back of the Honda.
Yeah, it must have been a mistake coming onto that straightaway in the middle. Didn't quite catch it, guys, sorry, but if you did, you might have seen it. We were with the top 5. I was too busy Googling HGS Confetti. If you heard what I said, you might have been doing the same too. Lovely paint livery. I think it was on the old Skyline R32, if I'm not
Yeah, the
wrong.
old Godzilla.
Oh, Godzilla. We've got another Godzilla on the track today, but it's not from that Japanese outfit. It's from the better one, the Power of Dreams. Aidan Walsingham managing to slightly pull away after that little incident he got in the first sector of lap 2, making amends. Look how fast that Honda is round here. Already found himself half a second when he was being swamped in the middle sector, and he's pulled to the inside. Look, maybe he's got hot tyres or wants to get out into a little bit of water to cool them down, so that does incline to me that he might have had a slight incident but caught it, overheated those rear tyres, or possibly fronts, who knows, and is now desperately trying to cool them. He's unable to stop properly, and that gets him on a wrong trajectory through turns 1 and 2. Struggling then from Aidan Walsingham. Maybe the tyre isn't where he thought it was going to beat him.
Yeah, because I mean, it is wet, but it is still quite warm. 24 degrees on the track. It really does seem like that Aston. I mean, even towards the end there of the pit straight, it really seemed to reel him in. And then through the corners, it just looks a lot more settled. Although saying that, Luke Whitehead as well behind them, it does look like it's. I think towards the midpoint in the race, I think Aidan Walsingham does really stand the chance of becoming a bit of a cork in the bottle.
Yeah, it could be fuel loads, could be a variety of different things coming into this at the moment. You don't know. Obviously, put that fantastic 39 lap time in with a completely light car, and it might be that the Honda comes to him later on. You never know. Obviously struggling at the beginning here with the balance of the car. Luke Whitehead looking menacing on the back of Valentine Barrier, though. Might be a slight change for second place, but God, it's not going to happen down the straight, unfortunately, for the Porsche driver.
It's a lot better. Oh, mistake there from Barrier. Goes very, very deep. In fact, so does Jards in the background as well. Both those cars going very deep. Luke trying to go aggressive and try and make a way round him, but it hasn't worked. I think he actually almost slowed himself down coming off the standard line as he tried to swing the Porsche through and gain some time. Aidan now, out of nowhere, has sort of regained all of that pace and is just flying away.
I think you were bang on,
to lose
Tim.
quite a lot.
With the, sorry to interrupt, I didn't mean to. With the, you know, you've got to be consistent. This consistency is going to be key around here. You've just noticed, or literally just witnessed, the smallest of mistakes nets you so much time. As Luke Whitehead gets slightly unsighted through turns 2, that affects him into 3, and then you had Jardier right on him. So I think any kind of movement mid-corner around here it just gets so much time lost, because if you go out of one, especially in this middle section, if you leave or exit slightly wrong, it upsets you for the next 3 or 4 corners, so you can get the car back online. You lose time. That's where you're seeing these cars almost jump into each other through the midfield.
Speaking of the midfield, I think we've got a little battle heating up here between Torregrossa and Remy Papin. That's for 11th place, a little bit further back, but That is Aston Martin versus BMW. It's another Aston Martin. It's just a sea of Aston Martins out there this week. And they all have to choose their cars for the... Oh, just noticed, sorry, car number 907 with a yellow flag. I think they may have just left the server because they disappeared. They haven't gone back to the pits.
Yeah, it's Blizzard, I think.
Jacob Blizzard, yeah. I think Blizzard has had a retirement. Pretty sure I saw him have an incident earlier on where he sort of just completely outbraked himself. So that car obviously just not feeling the way it did in qualification.
Here's a fun little race down with Traction Dave chasing down Matt York in P23, who is tracing down Dimitrov in P22, Blizzard's teammate for the SGSS team. Doing very well. Dimitrov, we know from Tier 1, been with us for a little while. Under pressure from Matt York. Then just ahead from these pack is Mattia De Campo in P21. Slightly off pace this season, isn't he, De Campo? We've seen him right up in the pointy end of Tier 1 a few times before.
Yeah, definitely seen him further up. I wonder if a little bit of that is a case of where it is this custom BOP. Maybe the go-to car doesn't exist as much, or it's just the car that he favours is just being nerfed slightly more than normal by the BOP. I mean, it is track specific as well. It's not just a case of every single race, the Lamborghini is running 15 kilograms of bias. Like, it's every single track it's different. But sometimes you can just find that the car that you're so used to and you're so well trained, when it's suddenly running a different amount of ballast, it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel right. It can almost feel like you're suddenly running with an extra bunch of fuel. It's just absolutely, bonkers. It can drive you mad sometimes.
There's a crazy race going on for P8, P9, I think, and P7. Nowicki really under pressure from Chamberlain. Harley's desperately trying to get past. George Boothby's right in the race as well. We saw Chamberlain clout the wall, trying to get... I think that's netcode, that seemed very strange. But anyway, a lot of the cars struggling. It hit the wall for you?
Yeah, I think he went a little bit deep. I think he was trying to get too much power on through that final turn. And I think it just meant he was a little bit wide, because he did seem to run sort of out over the white line on the exit of the turn, and then just continued on and clipped. So I just think it was a case of he couldn't get the car turned in without lifting the throttle, and obviously didn't want to, but seemingly still pulling on quite nicely. Got Boothby snipping around the back of him, so he's going to want to try and get past sort of Gert Fischer as soon as he possibly can. Oh no, sorry, Harley is going to be wanting to get around. Oh, and there's a move up the inside. He's going to have to go around the long way here, but putting the pressure on. Not quite able to do it, and you can see there in the background Boothby trying to get the power on and getting a little bit unsettled. I need to get Boothby's livery. I realise I still don't have it because it wasn't part of this pack. It was an ancient livery from times forgotten, and I need Boothby's livery. I need to see how ridiculous it is.
I'll see if I can find it for you. I turf it out and pop it over your way. It would have been a long time ago that one was given out, so it's a pack that I haven't deleted. Luckily I keep all of my liveries, so I don't ever get rid of them. So if I've had a livery been given at some point during AOR's reign, then I will have it tucked away somewhere. So if any of the drivers want to go back to an old livery, they can. I mean, they always get resubmitted, so it just duplicates them. It's fine, it just overwrites, there's no problem. But if we've got an old historic one like you have with Boothby here, it's a bit of a meme livery, this one, so those who know. Fantastic livery. I think Toaster was given the shout to give Nins, I think, at the time, one of the most craziest liveries he could, and he was able to do it, and that's what came out. And I'm pretty sure George Boothby found it in the back catalogue somewhere in the ancient AOR archives and pulled it out for that Lexus for this season. So yeah, strange old livery, that one.
Yeah, I was quite sad. I lost a lot of my liveries when one of my hard drives decided to completely just kill itself. So yeah, I lost loads of bits and pieces. All obviously save games. Thank God for Steam saving everything. But yeah, lots and lots of liveries and bits and pieces. Everything had to be redone. It was my main hard drive that just decided one day, no, I'm not working. So yes, that was fun. Midway through a game, everything went black, and then that was it.
You've seen the team that you can see, that's the paint team. It was Beeswax Racing. Oh, almost clouted the back end of Harley Chamberlain. Manages to stop the car. I was too busy looking at his paint livery. Well, that was disaster then, almost for George Boothby. I don't think he touched him. Maybe Harley Chamberlain saw him coming down, barreling down that middle straight, and somehow he was able to get that massive Lexus stopped as they round turns 10 through 11. It's a funny old track, this, and he's back on the bumper. I think there's a bit of netcode in this server today. It seems a little netcodey. That clout that we saw from Harley on the exit of turn 14 down to the back straight looked a bit netcodey, especially the way that the car jumped back onto the grid. I'm not too sure that was actually a slap of the wall, but who knows? Because just how much it didn't react, how much the car still hasn't lost pace, and there's no change to the damage on the outside of the car. As Chamberlain goes for a march up the inside, puts the car into position, no way through there, unfortunately. Going to have to look for another way round. It's getting slowed up now. The gap from Nowicki to Fisher, nearly 4 seconds.
Ginormous, isn't it, at this stage of the race as well? You think there's less than 15 minutes of the race done to open up a gap. That is pretty significant. A couple of laps ago there was a little incident as well a bit further back in the grid. It was another car that we saw earlier on having issues, and it was an issue between car number 36 and 17, so that was Jarabowski and Congretel, those two getting together. Again, where it's wet, the smallest touch can cause such big issues. Oh, Boothby going for a move. Boothby has got round. Oh, no, he hasn't. He's losing it again. Bit of a get-together. So that was Chamberlain and... yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Chamberlain and Boothby there.
That was
running around the outside.
A few corners before. I think Nowicki got unsighted through turns 4 and 5. Then Chamberlain tried to make a move. Wasn't able to do it. They both slowed down. Boothby round the inside, I think, of turn 6, and then lost it into turn 7. So it snowballed from previous corners, and I think the big loser there, unfortunately, was George Boothby.
Luckily, he hasn't lost any more positions. He gained a few and then lost them back, but at least he hasn't gone any further back than he was previously. He's managing to just about hold on to his position inside the top 10.
Just having a look through the top 5 again. Aidan Walsingham still running away in P1. Got himself a lovely buffer now, 3.5 seconds from Valentine Barrier. Squabbling behind Luke Whitehead and Jards. Jards back on pace now. It's fantastic to see him in the pointy end of this grid. Chris Warner just behind. Gert Fisher, unfortunately, not keeping up, but still there, just about, poking his nose in. Then the 5 seconds that we said back to Nowicki, you got the fight with Chamberlain and Boothby. Chamberlain will find a way around Nowicki at some point. It's just a matter of when, where and how, and whether he can do it cleanly. But this looks like it's hotting up, and it's a fantastic race to watch. Jards versus Luke Whitehead for honours here. The current reigning champ, the current championship leader, is defending against Jardier. The mainstay of sim racing, the People's Champion on YouTube,
the People's
of course.
Champion.
Yeah. Always smiling, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Jardier is one of those drivers that if there's anybody that ever says to me, "Oh, I'd like to start watching a bit of sim racing," or who should I, where should I start? I do say, if you want someone that's like, really community based and is just entertaining as well as fast, like, jump on with Jards. He's always a good laugh.
Can't go wrong with Jards.
And he does lots of different types of racing as well, which is quite a thing. You get a lot of drivers where they just do the same thing over and over again. They just stick to F1 or they just stick to ACC. So it's quite nice seeing Jards. He'll kind of do a little bit of everything and have a bit of a play. I think it might be netcode for Chamberlain, to be fair, because I was just keeping a little bit of an eye on him, and that car was jumping back and forth a fair bit. So I think maybe there is a bit of netcode going on as well. Everyone's ping seems to be fine, but yeah, not entirely settled on the track, that car.
Yeah, I know Chamberlain is from the UK, so should be roughly in the same server location of all these guys, but not too sure. I mean, it's lots of factors that come into that, isn't it? So who knows? But yeah, as soon as I saw him
in the UK.
Well, yeah, as soon as I saw him hit that wall, it looked suspicious. So yeah, I'm not too sure if it was genuine, because it looked like his car hit the wall in the server, but he didn't, if you know what I mean. Strange one. And that's maybe why he's struggling on the back of Nowicki. Nowicki's making obvious mistakes and Chamberlain's have to give him such a wide berth. It might be that Nowicki isn't where Chamberlain is seeing him, i.e. darting backwards and forwards, but he's not doing it for us. Do you know what I mean? But it is for him. So it could be that Chamberlain's the one with the problem, unable to sort it out, and he's going to have to really just wait for a big mistake to make sure he gets past without taking out the other drivers. But we'll have to wait and see. And Boothby's right on the back. Look, Boothby diving to the inside, not able to make the move there. We'll stay with Boothby, I think, on board. Yeah, good bird's eye view.
Behind him made a mistake.
Oh, pit stop. I was going to say, and we didn't actually say it at the very beginning, wet race. You do normally get the advantage by pitting early. George Boothby knows that. He's an absolute wizard when it comes to strategy. He's not afraid of pulling the car in. That's Kieran Prendergast behind. There you go, senior. The sun's doing a good thing here. I reckon that's a brilliant time to pit. You get yourself out of all of that dirty air. You get yourself into a nice, good area on the track. As you can see, the absolute majesty of that pit. That livery, I can't get my words out. It looks absolutely brilliant with the little bird on the side with the monocle. Anyway, Aidan Walsingham still leading away. Valentine Barrier in second place. Good to see Val right up there in a good position. Luke Whitehead just behind. Jardier chasing valiantly to try and stay on the back of Luke Whitehead. Chris Warner falling behind slightly. Gert Fisher chasing though, which is good to see. The chap reacting to that lovely livery that we just saw. My eyes! From one livery to another, Gert Fisher's is fantastic, I must say. I know I've ranted and raved, but it is really cool. I don't think we're seeing Jards' livery. I think we're seeing half of it. I think we're seeing the backing plates as opposed to the main kind of stickers, if you know what I mean. We don't see anything else, unfortunately.
But he's one of those drivers that never really puts in the livery into the pack, does he? Quite often, I think. So there's lots of people watching from home that are very much, want to see it. But sometimes I know there are sort of limits to what you can do with liveries when you want to put them into the pack. So it might be that if his livery is particularly ginormous in terms of file size, it might be a case of just not wanting to have to make it go any smaller. So.
Are there other drivers except people with 1,000 viewers? As in racing right now? I mean, there probably will be. Matt York is probably one of those drivers that doesn't have 1,000 viewers, if that's what you're asking for. I don't know, Blanco. Is that what you're asking? Someone with a smaller community? I'm sure there are. Maybe if you go down to...
probably some of them that don't even really have any kind of community, sort of in and around. I mean...
Traction Dave, maybe? Might be a little bit smaller. But I don't know, top of my head.
Amir Foch, he's unknown. No one knows who that guy is. The guy in the 888, Ferrari. Just never seen that name before, ever.
Trying to find Traction Dave's socials, but I can't on the fly, so we'll leave that there.
I will just say, have you seen Carnival 138 livery? So that is that's Raphael Malho. That is a stunning livery. That Brabham Esports looks really, really good on that McLaren. God, I get the words out then.
130, did you say?
No, 138. Sorry, 138. So running in 15th place at the moment. But that is an absolutely stunning livery. I mean, quite simple, but that realistically does look like the kind of thing you could see on a car in real life as well. It doesn't just look like an esports livery. That looks like a really well put together
like a
actual race car livery. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is.
And who doesn't have a racing stripe?
I know.
Bring back racing stripes,
I reckon,
people. Come on.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure that's official as well, Brabham Esports. That's not just harking onto the name, so that'll have official Brabham funding. British Racing Green, right? That's Brabham. I'm pretty sure they race under maroon colours as well. But yeah. Lovely to see those. I think we need some more esports teams with fully funded manufacturer support. Can you imagine a Jaguar esports? Oh, can you imagine? That would be fantastic. But there isn't as much, Brabham, didn't they bring out a supercar at some point very recently? I'm pretty sure I saw it around Goodwood. Oh, here we go. Matt York behind Dimitrov. A very damaged Dimitrov. Matt York up into 16th place. Interesting. Right.
He was in the 30s, wasn't he? I'm sure he qualified in the... Was it?
We've got some
low
pitters.
30s he
That might be why.
qualified?
Luke Whitehead's just coming out.
There is lots of pitters, but I think even earlier on I saw him inside the 20s. So, I mean, I think he was really on a bit of a charge. Obviously, the Boatley living up to its name, doing pretty well. The outboard motors on the back of that thing absolutely going for it. But Yorkie's got a great livery as well, and it's just, I love that. It was very strange seeing on an Audi a few seasons back, but now seeing it back where it truly belongs on a Bentley is absolutely fantastic to see.
Seeing the crossover here, guys. Luke Whitehead's coming out. Gert Fisher pitted the lap before. Let's see whereabouts he comes. Keith Boothby in the background there, who did an early pit. Whether that netted him some time. Gert Fisher then coming through turn 1. There's Luke Whitehead up ahead. I mean, he's netted him a bit of time, but it's not huge. I think he will be second to Luke Whitehead. Where Luke Whitehead managed to come out after this, it's all down to the guys out in the front, Valentin Barrier and Aidan Walsingham, whether they decide to pull the pit in. There's a lovely gap that's opened between Luke Whitehead and Gert Fisher that they could slot into if Whitehead has pulled an absolute blinder here. Let's see what happens to the faster drivers just ahead, current faster drivers anyway. Aidan Walsingham still lapping round. He's got traffic actually. I think that's Kieran Prendergast just ahead, who pulled it in a little while ago, so that's why he's so far back. He's going to get held up here, Tim. You don't have an obligation to let the car behind past. You can do it on the track. Whether Kieran decides to let him past, he shouldn't do. He's got racing line here. He might flash to let him past. He probably won't fight him, but no, this will be causing a massive loss of time. Where's Valentin Barrier? If I was him, I might really decide about coming in if Aidan Walsingham doesn't. And this is all leading in to Luke Whitehead's plan, his dastardly plan of pitting early. Let's see what Aidan Walsingham does. Does he pit in? Does he come in and get it changed now? He's stuck behind the Brabham of Kieran Prendergast.
He's either going to have to get past soon, or he's going to have to come into the pits. He cannot afford to be stuck behind a slightly slower driver. Or we've got incident reports coming in as well. And he doesn't pit, he stays out. So he's obviously going to try and... Unless he can get a decent run here, I mean, this is the opportunity where he could have a bit of a flash.
Valet's
sort
in.
of say, come on, let me through.
Valentin Barrier decided to come in. Jardier's gone round for another. God, sorry.
The Aston's out-dragging him. The Aston is out-dragging Walsingham down the pit straight as well. He does go up the inside under brakes. Does throw it in. Oof. He was given space, but that was risky. Sometimes I think some of the drivers are always looking to get that top point. They want the gold cup, but I think they also need to just think about points. It's sometimes better to come second and then not finish at all. Penalties coming in, so we have had 2 coming in so far, and we have got a, this is in between car number 7440-907. This is on lap 1, 5-second time penalty for car number 440 and 1 licence point. And that is Michael Pochpen is responsible for causing a minor avoidable accident on lap 1. And then we also have, this is on lap 2, car number 1936. 10-second penalty for car number 19 and a licence point. And that is Ranieri is responsible for causing a minor incident as well. I'm not sure where those 2 drivers are in terms of the grid. Ranieri is currently running in 15th place, but I believe hasn't pitted. No. And that is car number 440. Let's have a bit of a scroll down. That is a number I'm not going to be able to pull off the top of my head. There we go. Currently running in 33rd position and has completed their pit stop. And I presume has also served their 5-second penalty, because that's not next to their name, so they must have served it during their pit. So got that one out of the way nice and quickly.
Fantastic bit of news here. Looks like Luke Whitehead's got past Valentin Barrier in the pit stops. So that was essential for Luke Whitehead. Racing on the pit exit, Luke Whitehead's and Barrier, and looks like Luke Whitehead's managed to keep it ahead. That is huge for this race. I don't know if they've got enough pace to get past Aidan Walsingham. We'll see. But yeah, that was real racy. Looks like Luke positioned the car fantastically, and Valentin Barrier wasn't able really to do much about that, and suffering now with tyre temp. Isn't able to follow at the pace that Luke Whitehead's able to pull away because of the slightly earlier pit stop. Right, here we go then. Aidan Walsingham, will he come in now? The teammate of Luke Whitehead. It's very, very interesting to see what these drivers do. This is normally when you would pit, but obviously considering the lack of cars around him, Luke Whitehead was able to get into a fantastic position, unlock that tyre, and absolutely storm away with brilliant times. And Aidan Walsingham has done the absolute opposite to that. He's been stuck behind traffic, he's on older tyres, and he's really struggled. I'm not sure Aidan's going to hold on to this.
It's one of those things, he really did seem to pull it out the bag sort of midway through the first session, didn't he? He really did sort of manage to just bring it to life. I mean, maybe the car is just feeling a bit better. Obviously, the lighter amount of fuel in the car by now probably just settled in a little bit better than maybe he thought it would. But just, I say, Holly Chamberlain's just leaving the pits as well. Another penalty has just come in. This is a 20-second penalty for car number 52. That was an incident involving car number 7, 52, and 267. And that is Skylar Loverink. And that basically is goes off the track, keeps the throttle on, and then spins and caused an incident upon rejoining the circuit. Bit of a difficult one in the wet.
I was going to say,
oh,
Whitehead is
yeah, there we go. Look, Chamberlain's lost position. He is, sorry, Chamberlain is now dropped back behind Boothby. So Boothby's pit stop, it gained him at least one position.
It's the earlier pit slightly coming to the benefit of some of these drivers, I think. So yeah, Boothby got past Chamberlain. Who else was Boothby and Chamberlain fighting? It was Nowicki. There you go. Nowicki's dropped down to P22 after all of that. So definitely promotes good pit stopping practices to get it done early in the wet, by the looks of things. So yeah, what I was going to say, Tim, was Luke Whitehead. He had a 141 last time out because he fought Valentine Barrier on the exit. Before that, though, he was doing 140.8. And Aidan Walsingham last time around was 140.9. And I can't see what he was like behind traffic, but it's definitely slower than that. So it's going to be real close here. Aidan's just come in. There you go. I was going to say, he went... That's could be about 5 or 6 laps longer. Yes, he'll get the tyres towards the end, but one would imagine that might be a little late. Let's see. Let's stay with Luke Whitehead and Valentine Barrier then, because this is the chase then for the lead. At the moment, we're looking at second, third. But possibly we could be looking at first, second, third. I don't know, I think is the answer. They're coming through, I think, turn 7, 8, around there. So almost towards the end of this lap.
Did just see a little message in the chat, customer. Someone asking a question, car number 12, they'd like to know if it has any damage. I just had a little bit of a look on my screen, and it does appear to have a little bit of damage, but only down one side, from what I can see anyway. Very limited to the amount you can actually see on the cameras as it comes whipping by, but I'm pretty sure it has some damage down that left-hand side, some scuffing sort of on the side panels, but beyond that, can't see anything else particularly flapping off it. The bonnet still seems to be fitting right, and the splitter and the diffusers are all still intact and not flapping around, so hope that answers your question. It might have a little bit of paint scrub, but it doesn't look crashed. We'll say that. They did have a penalty though, didn't they? I think that car.
Yeah. Whereabouts is Wilf? P20. No penalties at the moment, I can't see. Maybe not. Right, this is the race that we're looking for, Tim. Aidan Walsingham still in the pit, not released yet, so he's still in the exit. I would have thought, there you go, he's been released. So he's in the faster lane. I think he might have taken him. Where is he? No, he's in the exit, just going through turn 1. Not enough then from Luke Whitehead, but he will have a faster car now, so he's got to put in the lap of a lifetime, if the panel beater wants to try and make up some lost time behind his teammate and his arch rival this season. Managed to pip him last season, but looks like Aidan Walsingham's brought another car, decided to do something differently. His teammate's gone back to his mainstay Porsche, while Aidan Walsingham thought, actually, I'm going to try the Honda and see if I can get some different results. Slightly harder, got to find themselves different setups, different tunes. Obviously that can bring different results, and at the moment it's definitely winning for Aidan Walsingham, but the Honda does go well around here, so we'll see what happens. Doesn't look like he's able to really get some time underneath his belt. That's Luke in the slower tyre phase. Aidan Walsingham doing well then to keep that gap going. It's really 3 seconds. I thought it would be less, but there you go. Aiden knew what he was doing
Gert.
all along.
Gert Fisher and the 111 car had a getting together. And that was in Sector 1. So Gert Fisher lost a lot of positions there, and that was with Chris Warner. Chris Warner, he came out of the pits. They were lapping together for a little bit, and then there was a mistake from Gert Fisher. Warner tried to take advantage of it, and there was a tiniest little touch. And sadly, Gert Fisher was rotated and ended up on the grass. And it's hard enough getting off the grass in the dry, let alone when it's an absolute monsoon. So, yeah, sadly, lots of positions lost there for Gert Fisher.
Oh, Kieran Prendergast up the inside of Chris Warner there. Chris Warner trying to fight him back. Kieran's going to hold on to that, but it's a left-hander, then a right-hander. And I think he is just about past the Apex 1 driver. Brabham versus Apex 1. What a conversation piece. And I think that's through the final corner then. They're going down the back straight line astern, seeing if they can try and get on the inside, because it is a left-hand turn. Kieran Prendergast saying, absolutely not, you're not having my inside. But on the outside, on the brakes, Kieran Prendergast holds on. It'll be a switchback here. Whether he can do it, round the outside into turn 2, no movement there. Unfortunately, Nowicki looking for a place. Both Apex 1 drivers then trying for moves. Lovely cutback there from Chris Warner. Kieran Prendergast didn't see it coming as they bump draft their way through. And that was a fantastic move. Caught him napping. Interesting moves then from these Aston Martins. Aston versus Aston versus Aston versus Aston.
Versus Aston. And then a Samir Foch bringing up the rear.
Why not?
While he's all squabbling.
That was fantastic. What a move there from Chris Warner. I didn't think he'd have it in him then, but yeah, brilliant.
I say Chris Warner, that was his first flying lap as well. That was his previous lap had been an out lap, so that car was definitely not up to speed, and up to temp. So really putting in a fight on a fresh set of tyres. Just inside the top 10, there's some drama. 8th place currently. Remy Papin has picked up a 10-second penalty. And that was for lap 1. That was between cars number 1, 6 and 10. And 10-second penalty for Remy Papin, responsible for causing a minor avoidable collision.
Just reading chat. Bring back the Lister Storm. Oh, do you remember that?
Oh, God.
The Listers.
Designed with a ruler, and it was so delicious to look at.
Just fantastically cool looking cars. I reckon the guy he must have had a hard on for the McLaren F1, right? It's just such a crazy looking car. But yeah, there you go. Liveries for days in the Lister Storm back catalogue, I'm sure. I, for one, liked a silk cut Lotus. I'm quite partial to a Mazda 787B. But there you go.
Yeah. It's a very, very good looking car.
I do like the baby blue Porsche. I think it's a Porsche 918, I think. God, I'm getting a little bit... Can't really remember my Porsches. I'm not a massive Porsche fan. I think it's a 918. I don't know. Might be a 981. I don't know. There you go. Old 70s Porsche. Baby blue with an orange stripe. Golf livery. Anyone? Question mark?
Oh, the Golf livery. Yes. Yeah.
Can't remember the number designation. I don't do Porsches, but there you go. It was...
Yeah, no, the Golf livery is timeless, isn't it? It's an absolutely stunning delivery, that car.
I never understood how they numbered their cars, Porsche. Very strange. Well, they just go from 1 to 1,000. Where's the 9 come from? You know what I mean? It's just so strange. They started off with 9,
I mean...
didn't they? They've never gone into the 8s. They've never gone past it. They've limited themselves to 100 models.
No, because they just start giving them they've started using names as well now, haven't they? And that's the thing. They squeezed a couple of names in on different models. I'll be honest, no idea on the Porsche numbers.
So confusing.
And then they all overlap them in my mind with Ferrari numbers as well, because they all end up being sort of quite similar, don't they?
They also get very confusing, Ferrari numbers. You think they're confusing, you try and do BMW numbers as well. Then it starts to get even more. Why is it the Germans? The Germans and the Italians, why can't we just have normal names like Starion and Supra? Something like Majestic, or go to American, Barracuda. That's what I want. Names of fighting
but have you
fish.
seen what they're putting Mustang on these days?
Oh, it's hideous, isn't it? Oh!
Yes.
SUV crossovers with electric engines.
Speaking of crossover, battle going on now. Remy Papin versus Bukowski. and also Toro Grosso coming into the battle. That's the battle for 7th place. They're chopping and changing. Pretty much every turn there's been a bit of a change. They're going to switch again here. No, I don't think they are. They're sticking as they were for a moment. But they are absolutely nose to tail, like an angry terrier at the postman. Everyone's heels are being nipped.
They came out of that corner all quite nicely, didn't they? It was quite pedestrian as they left, but in the infield it was definitely not. They were fighting shoulders and elbows out and everything, but as soon as they come into the straight bits, they kind of eke out, such as the centipede of this race. It's such a tough one, isn't it? It doesn't really lend itself to overtaking this track. It's a very strange one. Unfortunately, that's just what happens, isn't it, when you create infield tracks. But saying that, I do like Daytona. Daytona's quite nice.
Yeah, it's another one of those sort of interesting circuits. I always feel a little bit like when you go to somewhere like this, I do feel like they need to run like Daytona, where you've got a decent amount of the banking being run. I think it kind of does add a different aspect to it, you know, a bit of the straight, bit of the banking. I think that's something that Daytona does do really well, is that final sector where they're out there on the bank, absolutely flat out. It just looks cool. It looks wicked.
It does as well, and there's setup choices to be made with that as well, because you can go a little bit slipperier because you know you've got the banking to contend with, or you go a little bit harder on the downforce because you know also you've got that infield and the bus stop to contend with. So there's a little bit of more compromise on setup. It's not all just, well, I would need a pointy car, I need something that's pliable and compliant because I've got all of these flat left-right handers of 90 degrees or more. Yeah, it gives itself a little bit more diversity, I think. That's maybe why it's favoured slightly. And it's probably why they do a 24-hour race around there. I don't think they do the 24 hours of Indianapolis. I'm quite sure that they don't. One track I would love to see GT racing, and it was still in America, would be... oh, God. Is it Palm Beach? No. What's the one that's in California? That they do.
You've lost me.
Chat, help me out. They do IndyCar driving around there. It's on the beach. It's in California. I mean, what can be more amazing about it? I think it's Palm Beach. I don't know. Chat, help me out. I can't remember. I'm really bad with American tracks. Street track.
Another incident.
Go on.
Couldn't tell you. Right, here we go. Car number 7, 15, 16, 17, 69. This is all on lap 1. 15-second penalty for car number 7 and 2 license points. And then a 10-second time penalty for car number 16 and 1 license point. So that is basically all for a moderate. Is it Long Beach?
Long Beach. Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. Long Beach.
There we go. So I think that's someone in the chat. There's people in the chat. I had Long Island. Someone came in with Laguna Seca, which definitely is not on the beach.
It's in California, though. It's not wrong.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's San Diego.
I mean, it's sandy like the beach.
Willow Springs. Oh, dear. No, it's Long Beach. They do have sports car racing there. Okay, well, there you go. I'm sorry, but they definitely don't have... Well, they don't have the GT series. I'm sure they do have sports car racing, so I take it back. Whatever American sports car championships they do there. At least I don't know of any, you know. This current guise of GT racing doesn't go around Long Beach as far as I'm aware. What a fantastic track! Love it. It's even got a roundabout. Why not?
Just put it in there. Why, you know, like you said, why not? Just pop it in there. Someone who is having a bit of a go is Chamberlain again, all over the back of Boothby. So sort of the car coming to life in this latter half of the second stint. Are we going to see another wall strike here? Not quite. But Boothby going way offline, trying to keep it all together. Oh, apparently they did run GT.
There you go. I take it back. I take it all back. I've just not seen it. I guess it's a bit like Macau, right?
Which is so cool. It's such a cool circuit. Yeah, there was I did watch that one just recently, only because it was Rafael Marciello's last race as AMG Mercedes driver. He's now gone over to BMW, but yeah, it was his last race there, and he absolutely smashed it as always. They're just so small. It's so tight. Although I do like the fact that on the hairpin they have a permanent yellow flag. They're not allowed to overtake there because they know it will just cause so many problems if someone tries to chuck it out on the inside.
Trying to see what kind of GT racing you can do around Long Beach on the fly. It's quite hard to find out. I know obviously they do the IndyCar stuff. IndyCar's very expensive. Oh, how cool would that be to see an IndyCar race? For us Europeans, it's not really on the agenda, is it? But there you go. 6 world-class races they run at Long Beach. They do the IMSA stuff around there. They do the drift challenge. They do the jumping truck thingies. There you go. You do your GT America, powered by AWS. So there you go. It's the American GT series that runs around there. And they also do historic IndyCar, which sounds hilariously fun. So there you go. They do GT of America. I should have known. Acura, Audi, Aston Martin, BMW, Ferrari, Maserati, McLaren, Porsche, Toyota are represented in GT America. I take it all back, Tim.
Yeah, because they run a mixed field. I think they run GT4s and GT3s at the same time in that series. Very similar to British GT, where they have a mixed grid. Keeps the numbers up, which is always good to see. I keep meaning to try to get into the Asian GT series because that looks absolutely amazing, and the cars and the liveries over there are absolutely stunning.
Pretty sure they run the A90 Supra in that class somehow, somewhere, which would be quite fun to watch. Again, I'm going to get Googling.
Technically, again, they're all powered by AWS, so there's no reason that they could not appear in this game. I mean, they're putting the Nordschleife in, and that isn't even in yet. We haven't even been there as part of the of this particular series. Yes, they do GT3 racing there, but up to this point it hasn't been done as part of this particular type, the GT3 World Challenge. That hasn't been part of it. So there's plenty of circuits left to go. Harley Chamberlain still all over the back of Boothby, and I imagine Boothby's probably thinking to himself, hang on a second, I've come back here to try and get myself another championship, and I'm being chased down by people I don't even recognise. Oh, bit of a mistake there though from Harley. Although I think these guys, who is in front of them? Car number 16. Oh, it's a back marker. For a moment I saw a little car glitch across my screen, and I thought it was Jards being chased down. But no, Jards is very much up the road and flying away.
The Asian GT series doesn't have different cars. It's all very much the same, just at different tracks. An Asian GT pack would be fantastic, wouldn't it? To be fair, I would like more of the American tracks. If they run at Long Beach, I'll want it in this game. That would be insane. But yeah, Asian GT series. So what's that? They must run all of the Middle Eastern tracks, Dubai and stuff like that.
I believe so. I would say it's one of those things I'm trying to get into, but there's already so much to see and so much to try and keep track of, whether it be esports or real life GT racing and British touring cars on top of that. It all becomes a bit of a blur after a while. It's quite difficult.
Is Matt Neal still racing in British GT?
No, he has finally retired.
He's given up the ghost, is he?
Yeah, he was running a team for a while, and then actually now that is gone as well.
Okay, fair enough. Well, he's pretty decorated, isn't he, old Matt Neal? Who's the other one? There was another one, Reed. I can't remember his surname, first name. Something Reed. Oh, I can't remember. They all roll into one. Who's the other one who's been in it for absolute donkeys?
Jason Plato.
That's the one, Jason Plato. Is he still racing?
Yeah. No, he's no longer racing either. I think it was about 2 seasons ago he had his final season.
Why not? Yeah, I mean, they can't race forever, can they? It's a bit like the rally drivers. They go on for a little while and then they will get replaced with new ones. No, I can't keep track of the touring cars. As much fun as they are.
That's my bread and butter. Love a bit of British touring cars as I sit here under my giant Tom Ingram Barrett banner that's on the wall above my PC. Another incident's come in as well. So, or have I just? I'm pretty sure this is a new one that I didn't read a moment ago. Cars 17, 15, 16, 7, and 69 on lap 1. No, I have read that. Completely ignore me. I'm pretty sure I've already read this.
It's all good. I'm sidetracking.
But another one's come in as I was saying that. So Lap 8, car number 17 and 36, 10-second penalty for car number 17 and 2 license points. And that is Lucas Congratel, and is responsible for causing a moderate avoidable accident. Although Stewart did note that 17 did give back the position.
Okay, good. Good. I was going to say he's collecting license points. He is. I think he was involved in issues last time around, so never good. You definitely miss qualifying and natural race sessions this season. It's pretty harsh on the old points, and I think they carry over. I don't know how long they run for. The guys must have to keep a track of that. I'm not too sure. Asian GT Series, Sepang, Dubai, Macau. Yeah, fantastic tracks. I guess it's good racing, and it's a good platform up into the bigger stuff like Le Mans, Daytona, and all of that. Sebring, the bigger 24-hour stuff. I'm sure that all forms part of IMSA. It all gets very confusing when you get into that stuff. Who knows? I'm going to whatchamacallit this year, Le Mans. I think I told you this before. It's going to be very interesting, this grid. Fantastic.
First year where it's the GT3s as well, so
yes.
Exciting stuff.
Very much so. Yeah, it's going to be
a bit of a chance for some different brands to take cars there and see what they can do.
I think
it's going to be pretty interesting.
I think we're getting the Mustang as well. Mustang GT3, I think, is entering because it's part of the IMSA stuff. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to Le Mans. Is Lamborghini finally make it in? I'm not sure if Lamborghini did in time. I'm not too sure. It's going to be good anyway.
I mean, but they run GT3 cars, don't they? So, I mean, there's no reason, essentially.
Is it,
okay, right, yeah.
Wasn't Grosjean had a little bit of a signing with that? I'm not too sure if they made it in, though. It was very harsh on the old sign-ups. You've got to be on the old paper for a while. I'm pretty sure the Lamborghini hypercar's not up to scratch yet. I could be wrong. Again, not a wealth of knowledge when it comes to that kind of stuff. But anyway, shall we quickly run down the order? Aidan Walsingham's 8 seconds ahead from Luke Whitehead. Who'd thunk we'd ever say that? But I guess we are around Indianapolis. Valentin Barrier just behind him. Jardier is in 4th place. He has fallen back now from Barrier. Boothby's just behind, and Chamberlain behind him, but still fighting. That's probably one of the closest battles that we've got on track at the moment, separated by a few tenths. Behind him is Remy Papin, who won't be there for long with 10 seconds worth of penalties. Then you've got Krzysztof Makowski, and we have a real ragtag full of drivers here. Gert Fischer following, Warner following, Taro Grossa and Alejandro Avilés also following in the Hydra Sim Sports team. That's a good little battle to watch. Maybe let's stay with that. Gert Fischer and Makowski leading those drivers away. Remy Papin and a back marker of a Lamborghini thrusted into the middle.
I want to give a quick shout out to Matt York, who is now up to 20th position.
Jeez.
I think that's pretty impressive stuff from where he started on the grid. Maybe it's a little bit of bias, maybe.
It's 10 places. 10 places.
One of my tier 2. Yeah. Some good going. And I think he's the only Bentley on the grid at the moment, I think.
Pretty sure he is, yeah.
I don't think I've seen another one out there.
It's not come off too good in the BOP this season. I would have chosen maybe a slightly different car. The Aston Martin seems to be the real outlier here. That and the BMW seems to be very good. Could just be race specific. The Honda also seems very good here. Just generally. Oh, we got a turn round. That was Gert Fischer. I think he just got given the hurry up there from Chris Warner, who has waited. There you go. That will be noted by the stewards. Lost himself some positions too. He'll probably only get a very light slap on the wrist for that. Obviously, the damage has been done. Gert has lost a few places, so there will be a penalty handed out. It'll probably be a 5 second or somewhere along those lines, considering the position was given back by Chris Warner. It may even be looked at with stern eyes. I'm not too sure. We'll have to come back towards the end of the race. I mean, we are really barreling down towards the end of this race at the moment anyway, but there you go. It might be a penalty that's added on towards the end. Yeah, unfortunate for Gert and for Warner.
That's the second coming together those two drivers have had this race as well. They had one earlier on. That was on Chris's outlap. He ended up catching the back of Gert Fischer after Fischer went a little bit deep on the brakes. and left a bit about half a gap on the inside. But yeah, that's the second coming together those two drivers have had. So, you know, as much as it might be gentlemanly on track, I imagine if that's the second time Gert Fish has been tapped on the back and spun, he might be a little bit chewy, I can imagine, post-race.
He's probably getting a bit frustrated with that if it's been a multiple comings together. I'm on board at the moment with Chamberlain, chasing Boothby, trying to get into 5th position. Boothby's done really well, to be fair. Harley's held on to the back of that Lexus with almost a mother's love. He's not been able to get past, but he's also, Boothby's managed to hold him back. I'm actually quite surprised with the pace that's in that Honda. It's probably because the Lexus is so damn fast down the straights, he's just not able to get past. And when it comes to the corners, because Boothby's doing so well at holding on, he's driving such big long lines, he's not able to really make the move. Chamberlain's desperate to get past though, he's constantly held 2/10. You can just see how much more pointy on the nose that Honda is. He's able just to power through the corners much quicker, but as soon as you get onto a straight like we are now, you just got to hug and hope that hopefully you'll get a little bit of a slipstream, but you can see the Lexus just pulling away, and that's it. No more overtakes there. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to try another point on in the lap. What do you do in this situation? You just got to wait for a mistake. Would it come from Boothby? I'm not sure, Tim.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, classically, Boothby, no, probably not going to make mistakes, but sort of watching the back end of that Lexus, especially as you're sort of going through these S's, you can really see the way it sort of steps and loads the tyres. You know, the Honda looking much more planted and sort of just smooth through the turns, but as we sort of flick from right to left or left to right, you can really see the way that the back end of that Lexus is stepping and then hitting, you know, the tyres are finally gripping down, which we knew about. It's a very tyre grip dependent car, but there's 5 minutes left to go and Harley is not giving up. He is maintaining the pressure, and if there is any way of getting past, it is just going to be applying the pressure. I think it's from this part of the track. Just look at the way the back end of the Lexus changes direction. It really seems to step.
Yeah, as soon as he commits to the direction change, it's almost a little hop as it digs in.
Yeah, the back end of the car just sort of squats down a little bit and then gets grip, but there is a brief moment there where there obviously is low traction. I mean, you know, sort of hats off to Boothby for managing to keep that thing going in a straight direction, as it is a little bit of a rocket ship that you just have to kind of put in a straight line and absolutely, you know, plant the throttle and go. Just noticing now as well, the look on that Harley livery is fantastic as well, actually.
Isn't it? Yeah.
The front end of that thing is absolutely spot on.
It does look very cool. The blue with the silver kind of cross-hatching. I'm assuming you downloaded the liveries this time.
Yes. Yeah. Last time I didn't have time to get the Tier 1 stuff done. I only had time to get my Tier 2 ones done. But this time we're here.
Well, it's not as bad as Luke Whitehead. He gave it to me about 5 minutes before the stream went live. I was like, Luke, you're lucky you're the fourth time.
Today, was it?
Yes, it was today.
Now, that would be why, for me, he is still just a black car. So, Luke, if you are listening, or any of his viewers, tell him to send it to me as well, please.
I'll get it over.
Another penalty coming in. Right, car number 611, 217. This was on lap 29. 5-second penalty for car number 6 and a licence point, and that is Remy Papin.
Another one. The Frenchman not having a fun day in the office today, unfortunately for him. I don't know really what Harley... Sorry.
No, it's fine. Carry on.
15 seconds, did you say, for Papin?
Yeah, in total now, because he hasn't served that 10-second penalty. So 15 seconds dropping down. That's a huge drop down. I mean, that's...
It's going to be outside the 20s, isn't it, I think?
Yeah.
That's never going to be good for Remy Papin. He was in good points as well on P7. It's a shame. Never mind. Yeah. But he's a good driver as well. He's had a good start to the season. A good last season as well with that yellow Aston. Yeah, shame. Never mind. Look, it's an unknown kind of track, this, isn't it? It's a bit strange. It's definitely green for some of these drivers. It's not like Spa, let's say, where everyone kind of knows every kind of aspect of that track. This one's a little bit new, exciting and fun. But yeah, elements of risk, unfortunately. You could take so much curb in that Lexus, it's unbelievable. It just eats the inside sausage curve on the exit of turn 12 and 13. It's really funny. Never mind. Chamberlain, unfortunately, not able to take that much curb. Has to just follow where possible, but still no way past the massive Lexus. It's a good car in the wet as well, the Lexus, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's fantastic in the wet.
No, it's absolutely fine. I was just going to say that someone that seems to either be dropping off the pace, or it's the other way around, that someone is really starting to get pace, is Whitehead versus Barrier. This gap has come right down. There's only about 2 or 3 car lengths between them, and yeah, Barrier seems to be really on the push. He's trying to get that silverware. He fancies that second step on the podium, I think, and he's really going for it. And I'm not sure whether it's looking at lap times, they're not that different. They're sort of both doing 141s. Well, they're doing low 141s. Aidan Walsingham is still doing low 140s. He's still doing like, that's a really good qualifying time, and he's still doing it in the race.
Yeah, that's incredible. That would be good enough for a top 20, wouldn't it, in the quali? Even more than that, yeah. Top 10.
I think top 10 that would have got him in, and you know that's some good going. Oh, Whitehead really under attack now. I think this is probably going to be one of their final laps, to be fair. I'm not, because they've got just under a minute left on the lap. They are just going through turns 4. There's a couple of little battles going on. There's the Chamberlain battle. There's now this Whitehead battle. All the while, I think Aidan has led pretty much every lap of this race, other than during the pit period, isn't he?
Pretty much, yeah. Led every lap apart from the pit crossover. But yeah, it's been a dominating performance from Aidan Walsingham, and he is about to come through and claim the victory. I'm pretty sure he's about to come down the back straight. We'll double check. It might be into the final little complex before that back straight. But yeah, Luke Whitehead is suffering definitely, but I think it might be just a little too late for Valentin Barrier. Don't think he's going to be able to get that move done, as Aidan Walsingham then rounds the final corner up onto that apron, and he manages to wiggle his way across the line. Fantastic finish, and it's the top spot for Aidan for once, and his teammate's going to have to take second place. With Valentin Barrier going incredibly wide, almost hits the wall as he races him across the line, and Luke Whitehead will hold on to it. Barrier just behind. Here comes Jards as well for 4th place, and then we've got George Boothby and Harley Chamberlain. They're so close, they're literally neck and neck. It's going to be a run to the line here. Harley might try a different line to try and get him, but I don't think there's enough pace in that Honda, unfortunately. The Lexus gets it. Boothby for 5th, Chamberlain for 6th. Pappy will be while away off, unfortunately. Mikowski will be 7th, Alejandro in 9th, Kieran Prendergast in 10th. And I think that is really about it. Torregrossa in 11th. Gert Fischer comes across the line a little bit further back. Warner and the Padawan just behind, but Wilf, I think, with penalties. Well, what a race we saw there, from commanding leads with Lexuses to an absolute domination from Aidan Walsingham. Luke Whitehead under pressure at the end there from Valentin Barrier, but yeah, maybe the rain put a dampener on the attacking form of these drivers, but it didn't stop us from seeing a fantastic show. So yeah, brilliant second round to this season 15. Let's see if we can have a little chat with the top 3. Aidan from Luke from Valentin Barrier's top spots. Just outside, George Boothby, Chamberlain, and then it'll be Mikowski, Alejandro, Kieran Prendergast, and Alex Torregrossa rounding out the top 10.
Keeping a little eye on the battle, that was for 24th place. They were pretty much side by side as they crossed the line. There was a little bit of squabbling still going on. I think they were like basically the last of the cars coming across the line. I think just due to the way the timing works. Just an absolutely great race. I think, as we said earlier on, this track doesn't lend itself usually to that much overtaking. I think the fact that it was wet gave us that opportunity. It just meant that there wasn't a case where you could just try and do the perfect hot lap over and over again and just repeat it and sort of rinse and repeat. Although, Aidan did somehow manage to do that. But I think really good with the fact that it was wet this time. It really shook it up a little bit and, just sort of gave us a bit more overtaking and incidents to keep an eye on.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a strange old track. It's a strange old beast, this one. But let's see if we can have a chat with those top 3 drivers. Is anyone waiting in the old box?
There's
of
no
comms?
one here yet. I just want to say, Matt York, 12 places gained over the space of the race, from 32nd up to 20th. That's, I'm very pleased for him there. That'll be an absolute boost to his morale. So fantastic to see.
We do have Aidan Walsingham ready for a chat. So drag him up, take it away, Tim. Have a little chat with Aidan. Congratulate on the old fantastic result today.
Bring him in. Aidan Walsingham, another fantastic race for you, and finally coming in front of Luke. How does it feel, sir?
Oh, pretty good. I'm happy with that. I mean, the car was good, the setup was good, and the driving was good. So I finally had the holy trinity of race potential and delivered. So I'm happy.
So the Honda just looked like an absolute rocket ship out there this evening. I mean, you said obviously it was a setup as well, feeling really good. We did sort of notice at one point there was a little bit in that first stint where you started to drop back a little bit, and we thought barrier was possibly going to get past you. Was that just the tyres sort of getting themselves up to temperature and settling in, or was it just the fact that you were running sort of race weight fuel obviously earlier in the race?
Honestly, I had a mare and missed the braking point in that hairpin in sector 1. And you go slightly wide, you miss the braking point, you run all the way off onto the grass. And yeah, I lost a whole bunch of time there.
That's what went on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we missed it on the stream, but suddenly we were like, hang on a second. After you were like way ahead, suddenly it all started like reeling yourself back in. I'm looking at the championship points. I think this is going to put you sort of level head with Luke, because you might actually be in championship points. You and Luke are going to be very close together, because he's had 2 seconds and you've now had a first and a third. So I'm not sure how that's going to work championships, but I'm sure someone.
I think I'll be 3 points in front of him. I think.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
Is he quaking in his boots? Have you got your teammate nervous now?
Nah, I don't think so. Luke's just warming up. He's getting used to some new stuff on his setup. He'll be back. He's not gone anywhere. He's coming straight back next round.
Don't say that. Come on.
He's waiting for the right moment to kick our asses. He's just waiting.
You can do it. You can dethrone him. You can break his streak. You could be the one.
It would be pretty nice to win the championship. I'm definitely eyes on it. So
he's on board. He's on board, Rage. He's keen for it.
I'm Team Aiden. I want to see fireworks this season. I like it. What made you choose the different car? Because I know obviously Luke, you guys both went for the Lamborghini last time. I know Luke's back to his main staple in that Porsche. What made you think, right, I'm going to go with the Honda? What was the overriding factor? Was it because your teammate, or because Luke was in the different car, or is it just something you're a bit more comfortable with?
Not comfort, not down to them. I wanted to drive something different and learn something different. Anybody who watches me drive in other series will see this as well. I change car every single season. I want to know what every car can do in every circumstance in the game. So, and that helps me out as well with other bits, knowing how to set cars up, fix certain issues in certain conditions, and it's all transferable. What you learn on one car, you can sometimes apply to another, and yeah.
Oh, good.
It's good experience. It's valuable.
Definitely.
And fun.
Yes. I mean, it means as well, it doesn't get samey. And then you can also go, you come out of that car and you're like, never again. I'm not getting back in that car.
That was last season in the Lamborghini. I didn't want to touch it again.
Like, nope, I'm putting that on the shelf and we're not revisiting that. But then sometimes you might find something, you're like, actually, you know what? That's got potential. Didn't quite get it this season, but I mean, with some work, it might show results. But hey, look, fantastic result. Well done. I know Indy's a very good Honda track generally, or at least it was before. I know obviously we've been bopped slightly, so it might have pulled it back in. I don't really know what the outcome of the BOP was with that track, but I know Indy normally is quite good with the Honda, but still commanding the dominating race there. It was just. Yeah, you didn't put a step wrong, really. You only didn't lead when on the pit crossover, so yeah, it was very, very good, and it does lead in well. I think you are leading by a few points as well now, so that's always good. as we got another American track coming. So yeah, how do you go around there? Have you put any practice in on other series yet, or how's that going?
I actually missed the most recent Watkins race. It's Watkins next,
Yes,
isn't it?
it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I missed the most recent one. I last drove it in December, and I was quick, but that was in the Lamborghini as well. So I have no idea how the Honda fares around there. So we will find out.
And it's 90
and
minutes.
hopefully be happy.
It's a big one as well, mate. So
Yeah, it's a 90-minute one next week. So you better get it set up, otherwise it's going to be 90 minutes of absolute misery.
I'll write that down as well. Last time I did a 90-minute race, I fueled up for 30-minute stints and then realised and had to fuel save for half an hour and stretch it.
nice. Yeah, definitely a 90-minute one
Um,
next week. I'm pretty sure it is. Don't do the man dirty.
I just double checked. Yeah, it's race length is 90 minutes
Oh, yeah, no,
next
you're
week.
right.
At Watson.
Wet again as well? Question?
Oh yes, actually, it's looking like it is wet again. It's
do you know this?
it's
Where are you
saying
seeing this?
0% dry,
Oh, yes.
70% wet.
It is
So
wet again.
this
What's that,
look,
30% like zero gravity, no atmosphere?
Yeah.
and 0% change in conditions, so 70% wet. So
That's really funny.
yeah, not in
0%
how that
chance
works,
of
but
dry, 70% chance of wet. Does that mean 30% chance of fire? Who knows?
This is me pushing my glasses up my nose like a complete nerd. I think that means that 70% of the area will be covered in wet. So
Oh,
yes,
whatever,
pushing my glasses up my nose like an
I
absolute
know the
nerd.
answer here. Okay.
Here I am hoping for natural disasters in ACC.
Yeah, I want volcanoes and tornadoes. There's a 65% chance of pigs. Who knows? Aidan, thank you again. Appreciate it. Well done. And we'll see you at a very wet and windy Watkins.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's get Luke up then for a little chat. A little summary of what happened in that fantastic looking Porsche, I must say. Last minute, Luke, leave it to the last minute. Second place.
As always.
Held on to Valet at the end there. Good stuff, though.
Yeah, well, first off, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. I really hope there's not a theme developing here. 2 races, second place in both, not fast enough to win. I just hope it doesn't continue, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, quali, I could have had P2, but again, wouldn't have made a blind bit of difference because Aiden was just too quick. I mean, I knew that Honda went well in the wet, but good Lord, I didn't know it went that well. I mean, I know the car could have done with a couple more kilos, but Aiden was clearly just driving the hell out of it. So GG's to him. He drove well, but yeah, a bit of a difficult pill to swallow, I think. The car, Porsche just wasn't quick enough. I mean, the Astons looked quicker. The Honda definitely looked quicker. And I couldn't really get anything more out of what I did, to be honest with you. The car felt good. The strategy was perfect. I mean, I gained 3 seconds on Aiden in the pits and jumped Valor, so clearly did something right. But it meant nothing in the end. Just didn't really have any pace. It was a bit unfortunate really, because I kind of expected more. But I mean, it's one of those. Unfortunately, can't have them all go your way.
No, I mean, it is a very Honda heavy track, this one. I seem to remember on the Honda series where we had, I think it's Tinko in the white Williams liveried Honda won. I got a funny feeling, or at least was very fast. The last time we were there, I think it was season 11 we looked at the beginning. So I got a funny feeling that was the last time we ran it, and Hondas dominated. That was the season where the Hondas were just crazy quick because of the current BOP. So yeah, I wasn't surprised when I saw that Honda doing very well. Not to take anything away from Aiden, he'd obviously set it up very well, because it was, the only other Honda I think was Harley Chamberlain, who came across the line in about 5th or 6th. But still, great performance. You got to remember though, you're the only Porsche up there fighting. There isn't anyone else, so you are on your own in that car. I know you said last time you sorted out some of those inherent problems that you were discovering with the heating and stuff like that. Is that something that came back? We got a lot of wet races coming.
No, I mean, the car felt okay. It just doesn't have the grip, really. I mean, the mechanical grip of the car is generally quite strong, so I don't know why it struggled so much in the wet. I mean, as I say, I know the Honda is very good in the wet. It just grips, and obviously the advantage that the Astons also have is that, or the Aston and the Honda, they can both run traction control. Whereas if you run it in the Porsche, you lose a couple tenths a lap in the wet. So I'm running without traction control, drifting it all over the place. And obviously they can just plant their power on the exit and they just fly, you know? I mean, as I say, I don't know whether it's just a wet thing or whether it's a case of just this track and wet didn't really gel with the car. I don't really know. But as I say, I mean, I felt pretty hooked up. As I say, I hope it's not a developing theme where, you know, the last 2 races I've been car's kind of been third quickest, you know, in race trim. And yeah, I hope that we can have some stronger races later in the season. I mean, Brands Hatch is one I'm very looking forward to. I always go quite well there.
Got a funny thing, didn't you have a disaster last time we went to Brands Hatch?
I honestly don't. I don't think I've done an AOR race at Brands. Funny enough, I know there was one. I know there was one a few seasons ago, and I was ill for that race and I missed it.
Maybe.
But that's the only Brands AOR race that I think I've seen. And as I say, I like Brands. It's my local track. It's only about 5 minutes from where I live, so hopefully it's a good omen. So I think that's round after next, so round 4.
It is,
so,
yes. Well, unfortunately, if the issue that you think you may have is a wet issue, just FYI, the 2 90-minute races remaining in the season are both high chance of wet. Watkins is a 70% chance wet, 0 dry. Paul Ricard is a 60% chance wet, I think, if that's percentages anyway. I'm not too sure. But anyway, so they're both going to be damp of some kind.
Yeah, the math isn't mathing there, is it?
Not, no. We just had this conversation.
70% wet next week. So that means what, 30%? I don't know. If it's floating, no tires.
This is exactly what Aiden said. Tim says it's something to do with like where it is on the track. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. As Aiden said,
maybe it's just rain level. Maybe it's just rain level. So like instead of today we had heavy rain and it was 100% wet. Maybe next race is like light rain and then Paul Ricard is like slightly lighter rain. I know Spa has 20% rain, so maybe that's just like
drizzle,
nearly slicks, like on the crossover.
Yeah.
Could be quite interesting, but I mean we'll see. We'll see. I know, as I say, I go well in the Porsche. I like the Porsche. So if there's any car I'm going to be able to maximise and get everything ironed out on, it will be the Porsche. So, we'll see what happens. But as I say, the Honda looked ominous today, and Aiden drove amazingly well. So GG's to him.
I think we're only 3 points behind, so it's not all lost yet, mate. You're still in the fight, definitely. So many more races to come.
We've seen in past seasons consistency is key. So that's kind of my mantra, I guess, that I'm going for, and then hoping that something sticks eventually.
2 in a row is not bad. I wouldn't worry. 2 2s in a row will always come good. Well, thanks very much, Luke. We will undoubtedly speak to you again next week, unless we have disasters. But yeah, 90 minutes, remember. Don't forget that fuel. I'm sure you won't. You are the man without a calculator and you have one in your brain as opposed to the one that's stapled to my head. But anyway, we'll see you next week, bud. Have a good...
no worries. Also, just before I go, Rage, thanks for getting the livery sorted, by the way.
Oh, no worries. It's fine.
Thanks for getting it sorted.
Send it to me. Send it to me as well.
I will. But glad it looked as good on track as I thought it would. It looks awesome. Black Goldsaw, by the way, made that. So
yes, I thought so.
To him. He did.
The thing is,
Black Goldsaw, the goat, the absolute goat he is. He just does it.
He's got it because of the way he sent it to you. It's because he's got Luke Whitehead Stability Control 88. So he's like got the team there. But you're still Veloce, aren't you? It's not.
Still with Veloce, yes. But I just thought I saw he made a livery for the Nissan and was like, can I just get one for the Porsche as well? And he's done bits. So
there you go.
Got my yellow in there as well. So.
Tim, I've sent you the Stability Control 88 livery.
It's all right. Luke beat you to it. He did it.
He did it
already.
Well. He did it quicker.
He nipped it in the bud while chatting.
You've got 2.
Hey,
you've got 2. Anyway,
not just quick on the track. It seems then.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
No worries. Luke, thank you. Thanks,
have a
buddy.
good one, boys. Take care.
You too. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Yeah, see you guys. Bye bye.
Right then, well, fantastic race for everyone involved. I think we've got more wet weather running coming for you next week. Before we let the time get away from us, you can join us the same time, same place next week for more running. You heard where it was. It's Watkins Glen with 60% chance of geese or whatever it is. You can join us tomorrow for Tier 2 with Tim. And only Tim for the Tier 2 boys round Indianapolis. Rainy Indy take 2 for the Tier 2 boys. So join in if you fancy a bit of that. We've only one race down, so I won't read through the results yet. But as the season progresses, I will make sure I keep you guys in the loop of how spicy that's looking. Tim, anything to end on before we run away?
I think it was an absolutely amazing race. Generally, please join us for Tier 2 tomorrow for very much similar, but you never know. The weather might be a little bit different. Probably not. But it's, equally just as good and a good chance to get on board with some rising stars before they end up in Tier 1, as they all inevitably do. So, jump on board with us tomorrow. 7:30 it starts. It would be amazing to see you.
I love it how we say that Tier 2 is like the rising stars to Tier 1. Like, there are 7 or 8 tiers, guys. We can only do 2. But yes, you're right. They are somewhat the right. They're still incredibly quick. And it's still, if anything, there's more action because there's more, like, crazy antics. So they're still just as fast. Just like a tenth behind these guys. Anyway, we'll natter on. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time for more Tier 1 action. Ciao.